Number 5. Before we dive into the details of the 2024 budget, I want to address the salary survey. I am curious.
Point of information, Madam Mayor. For me to address you.
And the reason?
For the citizens of Bedlam. John Hill, Mayor. Point of information.
What is the point of information?
To get the stories correct on who directed and who called the meeting and some things that we were showing out on social media.
There's no finding in that.
You've got to address it. Yes. Well, I got a couple of things I want to ask.
Is this procedure, Johnny?
According to Robert's Rule of Law, it is.
Work sessions terribly strictly, but we have a point of order that we can answer. And the question is who called the meeting?
Yes, I was asking her to ask the administrator who called the meeting.
I called the meeting.
Administrator. Who called the meeting?
Who asked for
Who asked for the meeting?
The meetings were requested by Ms. Allen.
And there had to be another one.
Mrs. Allen asked me on Sunday. On Sunday, you were the second one. You were second, Jeff third, Mayor fourth.
Okay.
So all the aldermen were not happy with the salary. It had nothing to do with the mayor calling this meeting because she felt something was wrong, is what's being said.
Just a request for a meeting. Yeah, just a request for a meeting.
Right, was the alderman.
Yeah. Tony asked me on Sunday.
This past week. A week ago.
Yeah, a week ago.
Also, Madam Mayor, I guess I want to ask is, what given time were you, somebody had showed you this pay salary schedule that was blasted on social media? Because I never saw that, and I don't think any of us here would agree to any salary to be 30 or 20 or 60 or 70%. But eventually, I think you were shown that, but you never shared it with us.
Show them what? I don't know what you're talking about.
The reason we're here tonight, for all the false rumors that were spread on social media that you never stopped.
I can't stop. I can't control social media.
You said on your post, on your social media, you were not for this huge raise. When were you advised about that? You didn't share it with us so we can say no to it before we come out here to the public.
It was the last budget meeting.
But you shook your head and agreed to a 42% raise. First you agreed to 72%.
I don't vote on this at all unless there's a tie. So I did not agree to anything. That is the board.
No, ma'am. When were you given this policy that was not shared with us?
I don't know what policy you're talking about.
You were given something to show you the survey about the raises because we weren't on.
I got the survey. I asked the city administrator for the survey. I asked 3 times for this survey.
You also said on your
what I got.
social media website that you were not for the huge raise and all these other things. You were for 3% flat. So if you were not shown that, how can you say you were not for this huge raise and stuff? If you were not shown that, if you got the same thing.
We got that after this last budget hearing.
No, ma'am.
I don't know
what the numbers were shared on social media was all false rumors by citizens that put them up there and made it some kind of
That has
spreadsheet.
nothing to do with me, sir.
But I'm
I did
asking,
not.
but I was
did not
asking you,
share
when
that.
were you shared this information from Kevin, I guess Pam and Michelle? When were you given this information about this huge raises that we were supposed to be bid?
I got the survey after the last budget meeting, or right before
I think the question is when did the salary comparisons of that sheet that I was screenshotted come out and get to the internet before it got to the board?
Correct.
I think that's the question. The board didn't see that.
I never saw it.
I
those
didn't
numbers.
see that.
I think
If it's on
I think
social
that's the
media, it's
question.
public to everybody. I wasn't
It's not the
given
question of public.
anything.
I think the question is that how did the internet get the numbers before the board got the numbers? That's the question.
So that wasn't
I don't know.
that sheet wasn't created by the city. That
was a made-up
wasn't
spreadsheet on
created
social
by.
Okay.
That
It
didn't
wasn't
come from
correct.
us.
It wasn't correct.
Is this the agenda for tonight?
Well,
or
we're
is it
talking
the
to discussing the
hearing?
budget, but I did a point of information to get some information out there for the public.
Budget. I can't control what's on social media. I can't control what's out there. I have not shared any numbers with anybody. I've been given no numbers by anything other than what's in here, so.
But I guess
it's
what I'm
on social
addressing is
media.
the lack of communication that you and this whole board have. We have zero communication because.
That's not my fault.
You're the mayor.
That is your fault.
That is your
If
fault.
you don't talk to me, I
Ma'am,
can't.
you've had, how many months have you been sitting in a seat?
Look, this is not what we're here for tonight.
Yes, ma'am, we're here to tell the public the truth.
That sheet that was put out to the public, it is something that we need to get straight because that's the number everybody here in
Exactly.
this
That's what everybody's here for, the false rumors.
Well,
That's
then
what I'm
that's-
getting
And
straight to.
the
That's-
person,
you need to address the public.
the people who spread that said it came from the city. So I'm just wanting to make sure that those spreadsheets did not come from the city.
Well, why don't you ask the
No, I'm
city?
asking the city. I'm asking you and
I
city
don't
administrator.
provide public records. I don't know where it came from.
So were the spreadsheets, those spreadsheets that were spread around on social media, those did not come from the city, correct?
Well, first of all, I'm not on social media.
Okay.
But the information, the only information that is correct is the information that we have given to the aldermen.
Okay, well, that's good, that's good. I mean, I wanted that cleared up, that wasn't something given by our city administrator or mayor to people, because that was false information.
So that's what I was
So
asking.
I'm glad the question was asked.
Well, that's what I was asking the mayor is, so the stuff we were saying on social media, is that true numbers that were actually shown to us on this board?
I don't know, Roger. I
Madam
didn't
Mayor,
put
you
it
read
on.
social, yes, ma'am. You do know, was those numbers correct or incorrect? That's what I'm asking, because
I don't know. I'm not
you
responsible for
didn't
those numbers.
read the
I did
post.
not
I
put
didn't
the
share it with the
numbers out,
citizen, because
so.
I'm not,
Okay.
and also,
You need to address the citizens.
No,
You
you're
don't need
mayor.
to address me.
I have to,
I
you're
have
the
no
mayor.
control over social media.
You have no control over communication,
Not over the social media, no, sir.
but
I do not.
communication with board.
That
we
has
get- we
nothing
get-
to do with social.
Okay, hey, we're beating a dead horse here.
Point of order.
Point of order.
No, there is no point of
Point of
order.
order.
We
Point of
need
order.
to address.
Point of order, point of order.
Point of order, Mayor. Take control of the meeting,
You
please.
need to take control.
I can take control of the meeting.
The audience needs to
Point of
be
privilege,
aware.
point of privilege as well.
Yeah, second, the auditorium is not involved in this meeting and can't be, not tonight. That's on June 13th.
The questions that I had for the mayor is to smash these false rumors that were spread on social media, that we were not given these numbers, that were shared on social media by some made-up spreadsheet that somebody put on Facebook, that we were given 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70 cent raises. Those are all false allegations. If we had saw those numbers first, we would not be having this meeting tonight. That's why we called this meeting. The mayor did not call this meeting to order. So that's why I'm
The
trying to set
mayor
this.
asked for a meeting.
No, ma'am. It went
You
through
can ask
it went through us.
Kevin.
He just told you who did it first. I'm not going to argue that. What I'm
not
trying to
arguing
say
with
is, this has gotten out of control through social media because we have no
We're here
communication.
tonight to clear it up.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, if
So,
you will let us continue.
The point is, we have no communication with you. How many emails have we gotten other than appointing board members? That's all we get.
I mean,
That's it. So I would like to set the story straight. Those are all false allegations. Nobody was getting a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% pay raise.
Okay,
At
well,
all.
we're here to settle that tonight, Roger. And if I may continue? So I'm curious about the salary survey that was received by the city office. Who received it, when it was received, and why it wasn't shared with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. At the last meeting, only Alderman Bryant mentioned that he had seen the survey. I requested the survey 3 times after it was revealed that the budget salaries would be based on the survey. It would have been imperative to have had this information prior to the budget process. Another concern that I had about the validity of the survey. I wondered if the survey data had been verified and if it was applicable to Fayetteville. I contacted the company and I talked to Mr. Stephen Thompson. He is the president of Burris, Thompson and Associates, who conducted the survey. Mr. Thompson emphasized that the survey was not meant to be used to set salaries. It was just a survey. He explained that there was a difference between a salary survey and a salary study. He further mentioned that the survey data was skewed and it was irrelevant to Fayetteville. Even though they are listed in the survey, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville, they all have large tax bases and they're not comparable to Fayetteville, even though that they were listed in the small category section of the survey. Mr. Thompson suggested a salary survey that would compare the population, demographics, finances, tax base, and job responsibilities with maybe a 12 to 15 cities that we would give them. They would do a study, a salary study that would better match us, and it would be more accurate for Fayetteville. He did emphasize only do what your city can afford. You don't have to obtain your salary goals in one fell swoop. You can do it in phases. So to prevent the board from rushing into another financial situation, I suggest approving a 3% across the board cost of living raise, balance the budget, and hire Burris, Thompson, and Associates or any similar company to do a legitimate salary study. Mr. Dye from FPU recommends Mr. Thompson's firm as he has been working with him for their salary studies for quite some time. This would enable us to make an informed decision about a tax increase and the salaries based on comparable data. I would also like to draw attention to the fact that if the city of Fayetteville goes ahead with the 45-cent tax increase and the county approves the $1 and a dime tax increase, Fayetteville would become the second highest taxed city in the state of Tennessee, with Memphis being number 1. Furthermore, our citizens will have to bear the burden of several other cost increases. FPU has announced effective July the 1st with a 3% water increase and a 5% wastewater increase. The county is also considering a 25-cent increase on the sales tax, but this is based on the state comptroller's recommendation. It is not the county, it's the comptroller's recommendation. This was presented to them at their conference in Gatlinburg recently. This will increase our sales tax to from 9.5 to 9.75. The comptroller will also bring this to our attention at the Tennessee Municipal League in Nashville in July. As your mayor, I believe it is my responsibility to consider balancing the interest of the taxpayers and the employees. I want to help our employees. I want them to make the best wages that they can make that are fair, but we've got to make informed decisions on accurate information and not rush into something. It is crucial that we get it right. Once we budget to personnel, you cannot take it back. So with this, I will open the floor for any comments. And if we would, let's follow Robert's rules on this. You have up to 10 minutes, and then you vacate the floor and let someone else speak, and then you can come back and speak for additional 10 minutes.
I do have a comment to start with. I know we may not have had a copy of the survey, but we were all made aware that there was a survey at the end of April, I believe at our first budget meeting. So all of us had the opportunity to ask for that. My other something that I just want to say is this right here, what you just read tonight. That's part of the communication problem, because you have come in here tonight and it's like you're here. We're supposed to be working together as a board to work on this budget, but this was more of an address to the people, and this is information that you're first sharing with them before you shared it with the board. That's the first I've heard of that.
If we had had that information tonight that you just read, we may not be at this 5th meeting. If we'd have had it at the second meeting, what you just read, the epistle you just read.
The
I was given
information,
this information from Bill Newman about the sales tax.
I understand.
On Friday, I think Mr. Owens was.
I'm not
We haven't gotten an email with that information on
That's
it
the
at all.
communication
This is
problem I
the
was
first,
talking
this
about.
is the first time we've heard it. My point has been from the very beginning when we started these talks, was a 3% raise. I think I said that on the first night, and I think that everyone at this panel can agree that I said that. I've sat here and I have talked about the tax increase, and I've talked about the salary increase, and I think I've said twice that the employees do deserve a raise, and that's why we were here to do a budget meeting to discuss those raises. Communication has been little to nothing from the mayor's office, and we have had none of this information that you're reading tonight. Had we got that in an email, we may be a little better informed.
Well, the FPU's proposal has been on social media,
don't
and
do
it has
social
been in
media.
the, okay, it's
I
been
don't.
in the paper.
well, I'm talking
We're talking about ours.
I'm talking about
What do
the
you mean?
gentleman that you contacted who did the survey.
Well, you've got it right here.
What I'm
I mean-
saying is you've contacted him and he's told you all this information, what you're telling us tonight, but we didn't hear that until
You
tonight.
have the survey, I
No,
asked
you reached out and talked to the person who created the
Okay.
survey. That's what I'm saying.
I don't
The
have to
information you
share
got,
that information.
you don't have to. You don't have to. Exactly. And you
You have
didn't.
the same study that I have.
And so I should have called the person who created it. Each one of
Yes.
us should have.
If you were
Okay, well,
concerned.
former mayor that I worked under communicated with the board. That's all I got to say on that.
You've been in charge since November.
Point of privilege.
I have not had one phone call for you since
this
November
an
to tell.
attack the mayor?
I'm just saying, we've got to have information. and-
My
and
door
you-
has been open. I work every single day.
You don't
Not
just come pick up a
single one of
paycheck, they
you-
voted for you, and you don't
Okay.
communicate with the board. You're saying I don't have to give you this information? Do you know
I
how
mean, I
bad
don't
that
have to share
sounds?
that I called this man. His number is right here. His address is right here.
Well, on
His
social
email
media,
is
you
right
said
here.
this board has not done their due diligence. I say, Mayor, you have not done your due diligence.
That's your opinion.
But you
I know.
attacked us on social media. so
I
we
did
didn't-
not attack anyone on social media.
Ma'am, yes, you did. You
That
said
is
we did
my
not do our
opinion
due-
that-
You said we did not do our due diligence up here at all. None of this board, none
Okay,
of us
well,
board
let's
members.
do it. We're arguing about Donna and we're arguing about communication. And you were given this. I asked that all the aldermen get this survey when I got mine, so we got it at the same time.
Leave too.
So
Okay.
you're acting like I had all this before. I haven't had this any earlier than you got it. We all got it at the same time.
I think a lot of this stuff, though, could have been stopped on social media had you communicated to
I
us
have no
correctly.
control over social media. We're here for the budget. We're not here for social media.
But you blasted us on social media.
No, I didn't blast you.
I would like to make a point of order. We just had a citizen walk out who came here to get answers. He just walked out and
He
left.
didn't get his answers.
We're talking about social media, something that is for kids and children, that was invented back in 2006 or 7. We need to work right now to get this done. Because look, yes, there's lots of people here, and I don't care if anybody thinks it's a dog and pony show. By golly, we're here to try to fix this. So can we please try to fix this, if any way possible? Instead of talking about he said, she said on Facebook.
It's very true, but we can't do anything. She created this dog and pony
Point of
show.
order. We're adults here. Let's move on with the budget hearing.
Since we're gonna move on with the budget, we need, this is a budget hearing, correct? Since this is a
called
budget,
it.
since this is a budget meeting, I guess something else, and you said it's a kids thing on social media, then why are we funding Main Street all this money to get politics involved when they're putting on their face, on a social media, their webpage, we pay for, the citizens pay for their tax money to put a post that they did with a toilet, on somebody sitting on the toilet. That's an embarrassment for the city. And you want us to keep funding that group, that nonprofit, Main Street? For their wine and dining
Have
and
a vote.
everything?
You have a vote?
Yes. I would like to
well,
bring
then
that back up I would like to bring their budget back up.
Is that what you're
Yes,
doing
ma'am.
now?
I am.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to nonprofits. Does anybody have anything you want to say on that?
Do we have the nonprofit information on
You
here?
got that on the old one. We have a lot of nonprofits out there begging for help and they need help. Instead, we're giving to nonprofits, putting embarrassing posts on their social media webpage about the city.
Could we move that to the end and go ahead and move into the
We
budget?
can.
Would that be okay,
Yeah,
the salary?
I'm fine with that.
Would that be okay?
Is that you?
I'll go over some of the numbers that we have from before. At the last meeting, we ended with 45 cents, which is 967,048, with 676,934 being in personnel, 29,011.46 being in operating, and 261,103 being in capital.
Turn up the volume. Jamie, keep it.
So I'll go over it again. The last meeting, we ended up with a proposal of 45 cents, a total of 967,048 being for the 45 cents, 676,934 of that being towards personnel, 29,011 being with operating, and 261,103 being for capital. With that, I took those numbers and went back, and the balance after those adjustments left us with a positive of 132,629. So I'll take that back to the board and do any adjustments that is recommended.
After reading your email, I will say I was interested in looking at bullet points 3 and 4 that you had.
Okay, bullet point 3 is
Can you
taken,
speak up, ma'am?
yes,
Can't hear you.
okay. Bullet point 3 is taking a version using the survey that was provided with reductions to the $676,000, taking that down to $570,558, which is 24 cents. Increasing operating to $132,630, and capital at $260,136. So that is option 3, and then option 4 was a proposal of leaving a max of 20% for any increase, and option 3 provided more savings to the city than option 4.
Could you say that last part one more time? Make sure I heard you right on that.
Option 4, the impact to option 4 was a decrease of $63,896.68. So option 3 was an actual more reduction to the $676,934 than option 4.
Did you look at combining 3 and 4? Does that make sense? If you did 3 plus add the option of 4, add the 20% max on 4. Did you look at that at all? We're combining the 2?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay.
I can go back and run numbers, but it would take a little time to do those
Okay.
in calculations, but I can do that and come back with a different number.
Because the way this is listed, I'm making sure I got this right. 4 is without doing 3, correct?
Yes, number
Okay.
3 is pinpointing certain employees and doing a reduction of what was proposed by the survey.
Okay.
And then number 4 is looking at anyone's proposals in the survey and making sure that they did not go over that proposed percentage.
That's what I would like to kind of see is what 3 and 4 together would look like.
Okay, we can do that. there anyone else who would like to see anything?
I don't want to see anything with the salary study. Mine is, I know we were trying to raise salaries here. I'd like to be at 5% across the board, to try to get things more in line.
Okay, if we do the 5%, I can change that. So that would give us the impact of $295,328. So that would be how the amount that we would be looking for. So we would need to decide on the property tax portion, what the amount would be and what the distribution would be.
Jamie, I've got one question here before we
Yes,
get
sir.
too far along. No, it's really not about the salaries. Well, it is about one department. Early on in going into this and looking at it, we realized that we have a pretty serious problem with the fire department. The pay structure at the fire department is really strange. It's set up almost like, and you can clarify me here if I get off. It's set up on like an 80-hour pay for 2 weeks, but they're really working 106 hours, right? So what that, and it took me forever to get this through my head. I couldn't figure it out. So we had you run some spreadsheets, and we've addressed this earlier. There's a reason I don't want to get too far along here, because I don't want this to get dropped out of the consideration. So the base starting pay, this is the sheet you put out right here. This is it right here. A firefighter's actual base starting pay is $11.72 an hour. That's actual. Then the engineers is $12.99 an hour. That's what it ends up being. The lieutenant, $13.70 an hour. All the way up to a captain, $14.88, and the next two is chief and assistant chief. So we looked at this early on, kind of outside of all of this going on, and quite frankly, I focused on this pretty heavy. And you gave us a number. I believe it was to get them to $14 an hour start. Is that right?
On the base firemen, if they start at $13 straight from outside, plus any certifications that they acquire up to $1.30, that would put them to $14.30 an hour on a level 1, step 1.
Coming in. So
yes.
we're even if we do that, which is what the chief has asked us to consider doing, we're swearing in 3 brand new firemen next week, and there's only 20 firemen in that whole department. That includes the chief and assistant chief. If we don't get something done in that particular department for this one specific problem going on, that's been going on for a long time, we're going to be swearing in more if we can find them even work. To ask the firemen to get all that training they got to get, and to go into burning houses, and also they're running the paramedic type too, emergency calls.
EMR, emergency medical response.
Thank you. So they're doing all that, and then we look at numbers on what their true pay is. So you gave us an idea. You said that, okay, to get that up to $14 an hour, 13 or whatever it is, which to me is still pitiful. It would take 8 cents on property tax. Is that the number we came up with?
That's the number I remember.
That's the number I came up, 8 cents on property tax.
Okay.
That's what I remember. So do we want to continue to try to keep that department staffed? And the reason we're swearing in 3 more is because 3 just left. And because they could go somewhere and make a whole lot more money. So basically what we got going on, and it's going on in the police department too, but I'm not going there on this particular thing right here, but what we're doing is we're training police and fire, we're training police officers, and we're training, the training goes to all this fire departments. And what it is, they're coming in, a lot of them, they get their training, they're going somewhere else. So we pay that training now. Now they're supposed to pay that back if they don't stay at least 2 years. But I'm not getting over in other departments. I'm staying with this one right here. I do not believe in good conscience that we should not help take care of this problem. At $11.72 an hour, you go to McDonald's. And these guys are putting on uniforms, they're going and burning houses. And I feel bad because I didn't find this out till lately. I heard some rumors, but I didn't find this out till lately. So I got with Tony and I said, I want to know what the deal is here. Apparently they've been afraid to bring it up. I don't know what the problem is. So he explained it to me. So I told Jamie or whoever, well, him and Jamie, I said, I got to see it on a piece of paper. I want to see it on a piece of paper because if I talk about it, I don't want to be talking out of my head. I want a piece of paper coming out of the city of Fayetteville on what is real. Now this, I don't know where we're going with this pay deal, but I know one thing. We need to at least put 8 cents on that property tax on whatever amount it adds up to. That 8 cents, you can go back and check that 8 cent number. You go back and check it, but I'm just saying this is kind of what I remember. And I made a note right up here at the top of this page. We need to fix this problem. We need to fix this problem this year. We don't need to fix this problem next year or the next year or the next year. If we can't pay our firemen $14, $15 an hour, we're in a pitiful situation. And I didn't want this to get dropped by the wayside because when we talked about this, everybody seemed to be on board. When we talked about this one particular issue. And I told the chief that I will bring this back up tonight. And because I feel like it, surely to goodness, that someone, that people would allow us to keep on working these guys for this kind of, and ladies, for this kind of money. And they're only asking for $13 to $14 an hour still. This is pitiful. This is on us. I feel like this is on us. And the only other thing I did want to kind of remind us all, and this is not a lot of money. Just one more thing, it's not a lot of money at all. We've got a department head that got caught in the wrong step, and it really hurt that department head financially. Doesn't take a tax increase to fix that problem. And we all pretty well agreed that we need to move that department head up into the department head category. And it would be, I don't remember how much it was, from 54 to 66,000. But that department head should never been at no 54,000. And now that department don't have a lot of employees. But I can tell you right now, I'm on 2 boards. I'm on the planning commission, and I'm also on that planning and codes. And I've learned since I've been put on there that department has a huge amount of problems. They get complaints. I mean, codes and planning is just covered up with all kinds of issues. And I think we need to remember that we pretty well was okay with moving that employee into that position. But we're not talking about having that opinion, nothing on the property tax for that. Let's please fix this fire problem this year. No matter what we do, let's fix this fire department problem.
Jamie, did you say that the way the firemen are paid and the way the policemen are paid, they're pretty much on scale equal to each other? The 106 hours or the 108 hours kind of?
The way the survey was calculated put the police and the fire department, as far as a patrolman and a firefighter, it would put them basically equal. Now, if we were to do one department versus and not do the other, I don't know how that would look, because I've only been looking at trying to make sure that the departments are almost equal as far as a fireman and a police officer.
But we're not even close now by the hours that they work. Based on the hours they work.
I'm looking at annual.
Yeah.
And then in the salary survey, it was calculated on a police officer's 80 hours and the fireman's 106.
Well, I don't really believe from what I can hear tonight that we need to be concerned about what the survey said. Because I don't think we're going on no survey tonight, more than likely from what I'm hearing. I don't know, we might. But I just want to be sure that if we don't, see, this was embedded within your numbers to begin with. But if all of that kind of does not come to pass, which I don't know whether it will or not, but if it does not come to pass, what was embedded in all the numbers to begin with, we need to take care of this fire department problem. No
Yes,
matter what.
and the fire department increase was not in the original budget. So that scale was built the same time we were dealing with the survey. It was just built outside the survey, and we were doing a correction on the hours, meeting the annual of a fireman and comparing an annual of a fireman to an annual of a patrol to equal out the departments.
Yeah, you can do annual to annual, but when you get to looking in there how many hours that they worked in that period of time, the annual kind of don't really tell you a whole lot. So I don't want to take a lot of time up on this, and I want to stay on focus, what I want to do. I just want to know, are we still okay with what we said we were going to do with these firemen? I'm asking the board now.
But there are certain classes they have to take to get to that 3% if we agree on, or 4% or 5%, correct?
There is a certification scale that was being proposed, yes, and that has been provided in prior budget meetings. And there were, I believe, 3 additional certifications that were being proposed, 2 or 3, that made up the adult $1.30. So that added to the original starting point of $13 to make them get to the $14.30. That's if we change the scale.
So
And that, again, is just a base firefighter.
That basically what you're talking about, they want to go to start at $13. True numbers.
They will start out
They will-
day one at 13. However, they
So-
will gain certifications as they go. Some are faster than others.
And it seems like that they're happy to move up to $13 an hour for a fireman that does what they do. I'm not trying to push it up no more. I'm just trying to say this is pitiful. This is pitiful that we're having a department, that we have to talk about this.
But at the 13, their annual would be $40,526, which would be very much equal to a starting patrolman.
Even though they put in more hours.
Yes, sir.
See, that's it right there.
They're spending the night though, Alderman Bryant. You got to think about that too. Their position is so different than everything else. I mean, you got to take that into consideration too.
I do take it into consideration. I tell you why I take it into consideration. I take it into consideration because on the fireman, if I fall outside or I have a heart attack, I want them the paramedic part of it, whatever it is that they call, I want to be there. I want to be there. If my house is on fire and I've got family in there, I want to be there. They have to go in and they have to fight fires and all such as that. So as far as comparison goes, I think every department we've got is so needed. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about comparisons. If we want to compare, if we compare the $13 an hour they're asking for, or at least that's the number that's coming out. I thought it was 14, but if you say 13, that's fine. I've stated my case on the fire department situation. And if a board doesn't want to do that, it's up to the board. I've just stated my case.
Danny, Vice Mayor, I think we're all on board with giving the firemen, that's what we've been battling for a long time, is the firemen and policemen, first responders, they deserve more than what they get now. That's why our retention's so high. They're going everywhere else getting better pay. And their families are here, they're having to uproot their families, go somewhere, or drive further, and they're just killing them. But I think we're all for helping the fire, policemen, and the sanitation workers as well. But I think the part of us are all agreeing as well, just speaking for me, but I know I am, is the lower paid employees at the Fayetteville City that we pay, they're employed by Fayetteville City, they all deserve more than 3 or 4 or 5%. That's my opinion.
I concur on that too.
But we have to raise taxes if you concur, and not, you can't, they say both sides of the mouth saying we can't raise taxes and not give them a raise. You have to raise taxes, so they deserve to get this raise.
But and I'm for 100% the first responders, police, and our sanitation. But those that sit behind a desk and do things that these guys don't do is where I think I have the problem more than anything. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody needs to make a fair living. I agree with that. But these people, these men and women, they deserve more than those that sit behind a desk. I'm sorry. I just believe with all my heart that these people deserve just a little bit more. Now, it's good and great that these people get raises. That's great. But they don't deserve the raise that has been proposed, in my opinion.
Alderman Painter, I wanted to share. When I shared my thoughts a while ago, I was going just by these 2 sheets, not anything to do with the whole survey. And what I was looking at, 3 takes that list. We got a list on the email of the ones that it would cut. Do you remember? It was like a total of 80-something thousand.
84,
So that would be
87.
number 3. And then number 4 would go down through here and make a max of 20% on anybody.
And that's all the way across everywhere.
That's what I was looking at. That's what I asked her to look at, was 20% being the max on any and all.
I think that that's what we need to do as a board, is let that be it across everywhere. Let that be across the whole thing. And that's everybody in the office, fire department, police department, sanitation, everyone gets the exact same thing. My opinion.
Well, it was, I mean, those salaries were listed that were sent in the email, and then it would take anybody over here on this side where it says 35%, but the max would be 20. Does that make sense? That's what I was looking at. Now, I don't know if anybody else has looked at that exactly or not.
And I believe the fire chief and the chief of police, I believe they said they just said take care of their employees.
Yes, they did, and they
we're
were
all
on
in
that list. I don't know if we have a copy of that here tonight, but there were 6 or 7 positions, correct? That came to a total of 80, was it 80-something thousand?
More
It
than
was
that.
10, I think the total of us were a total of 79,000. Myself and the chief of police have never accepted or asked for a raise. So between the 2 of us, I think we were about 38, something about that. So, but it was 79 and 10 positions.
So that's where I kind of came in tonight, was looking at maximum of 20% on both of these sheets, which is, I guess, number 4 on here, and combining number 3, which were those positions that you sent us, and making those 2 changes. And you don't have those numbers as to how much that would be exactly, but you,
I don't, because
but you
that-
need to know if anybody else is interested in that.
Yes, I just need guidance if that is the route that we need to take, because I do know that would, if that's the way that we want to go, I know that some of the fire department is on that scale of above 20%.
Right.
So that would affect this,
Right.
this
I
scale.
understand that.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's, which way do we want to go?
I understand that part of it. I just didn't want this to get left behind in the public. I think the public, it don't hurt the public to know that these men and women in the fire department, puts in a lot of hours for a low pay. So if a salary survey, if this survey goes through some way or another, I'm not really putting numbers to it. If it does, and of course, that'll take care of that. It'll already be embedded in. We won't have to worry about doing that separate. You forget about that 8 cents because it'll be rolled into the other. So I just didn't want that to get left behind.
But I
feel like our policemen, I mean, everybody's position is important, but every time a policeman steps out of that car, he's putting his life on the line. Not to take away from the firemen, I mean, I support you firemen, you know, wholeheartedly. And you put your life on the line every time you go into a job, but it's two different jobs. So I think they need to be comparable in pay with each other because the type work that they do.
I agree with that.
I do too. That's why I agree with this right here.
I
And
agree
looking
with
at
One reason I looked at comparing a firefighter and a patrolman.
And you, yeah, that was good
And
the way that you
they
did.
were very compared. I mean, they were less than, I believe memory is around between $500 and $700 difference on an annual pay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all.
And then we have one other position. We've had our IT department. He has been interim for several years now. I know one thing, he was trying to catch up on some certifications and everything, but if we're gonna adjust this other department head, we need to look at this guy because he, you know, has been interim for quite some time. I mean, how long do you remain interim? If you're leading the department, if you've received your certifications and everything. So, you know, that's gonna affect, that's a little different on here, on if you go the 20% route.
Well, just, if that's a good point, fix it. Just
Realize the full salary is within the total numbers that Jamie is talking. The full salary is within that.
But is he gonna remain interim or is he gonna be the IT director?
We're working on it.
Okay.
Working on that.
Because, you know, while we're fixing, we need to fix everybody. But then he will, according to this, he will be over the percentage that we're talking about. So how's that? He should not be?
Not with the scale that Jamie had, he would not be over the percentage. Once everything is finalized with certification, he would go up to a director, which includes an increase. So it is within the numbers that Jamie is proposing.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we take care of that person too, and not overlook that any longer, because that's been going on quite a few years.
So where does everybody else stand?
I don't have a problem with whatever. I believe two of you kind of agreed on what, 20% or something?
Well, max of 20.
Well, I'm not, and I'm not
I
much
don't want
numbers.
anything to do with this salary survey.
I don't either. It's
That we had to
changed.
sit down and discuss page by page,
Right.
and we're nitpicking this department head, and I'm not calling names because I'm not for anyone not getting a decent raise, but this is a knee-jerk response. We are in a rural area. I think that across the board raise for now, maybe next year with some time for the city administrator to talk with the mayor and get some guidance from the mayor to fix these instead of saying he deserves this and she doesn't deserve that. I'm for 5% across the board.
That's where I'm at too.
Now, that's just my opinion. Because it looks unfair. And I believe I said in the second or third meeting that we were going to set off a firestorm. And here we are at the firestorm.
You did say that.
Yes, I did.
We gotta find a compromise, guys. Everybody speak up where they wanna be, because
I'm still at the 20% across the board. That's where I think if everybody would be comfortable there. These firefighters that are here right now, the ones that I've worked with, the police officers that are here that I've worked with on numerous calls, especially Mr. Miller back there, and especially Mr. Underwood, especially Mr. Ratley, and especially Mr. Carlos over there. I see you over there. These guys do what we don't want to do, what no one else wants to do. And they're the ones that's risking everything, and I believe they're more worth 5%.
I was gonna ask you, just to make sure we're on the same page, because on me, when I said 20%, I was talking about this column over to the right-hand side being a maximum of 20%. So say somebody was supposed to be 35, I'm saying maximum 20%. No, I'm not saying 20% across the board for every employee.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanna make sure
I
that
get you.
we know. Okay.
I believe more than 5% needs to go more towards, that they're worth more than 5%. And
I'm not, please, please.
I get you.
I just don't want you to use the word "they're worth," because they're worth more than anything.
yeah, they
Because
are
of
worth
where
more
they
than
work.
anything. And-
So don't refer to that, please.
Well-
But I'm talking about a decent raise of 5% for everybody, and then work out these intricacies that we have to look at, that we've been talking about.
And I agree with you there, but I think 5% is not where we need, they need to be more than that. It needs to be a little bit more than that. Matter of fact, thank you firefighters, thank you police officers,
Hey,
thank you sanitation workers. Thank you.
One question while nobody else has spoke up yet. One question while nobody else is talking yet. The 5% increase, if we did 5%, what is that penny-wise, as far as property tax?
Well, you just divide 21,000.
I figured she already had it.
Oh, do you?
I don't know. She may not have.
She's working on it.
Whoops.
It should be 14.
14.
Yeah, it's around 14.
And another thing to think about when we're saying that would be 14 cents, are we gonna do something in capital and operation as well?
And you got that fire department out there still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, the
Go- go in and make sure
5% is across the board, so that does not include having the fire department
Right.
their own.
So that would be an
increase.
additional 8 cents.
It would change a little bit because the fire department is within this 5% calculation, so
Okay.
so this 295 would go down this 53 here.
Well, I'm gonna put this out here, this is just my opinion. We're gonna have to do a tax increase this year anyway. If we don't take care of these salaries, I feel like it will not get done. There's not gonna be a tax increase next year or the year after that. That's kind of my feelings on it. If we don't get the work done now, I don't think it'll get done.
I think you're right.
There won't be a tax increase next year.
Well, why would we not give a minimum across the board and have a legitimate study done to see where our salaries are and where they should be before we go just throwing out percentages? We're just throwing here and throwing there. Do a legitimate study.
I'm not just throwing, I mean, I've probably spent a week working on this stuff. I mean, I'm not just throwing these numbers out here. I've worked on this, and a lot of us have.
But do you have comparisons of other areas and what they're paying? That's what I'm saying. Not, that,
Well, I don't need a comparison to know that $13, $14 isn't enough.
I'm not saying that it is, but how much is? I mean, what would be
I
fair?
think they brought the comparisons to Giles County, Franklin County, and Moore County to us already once before, and we are underpaid. They are underpaid. So you already had a copy of that at one of your meetings maybe 2 or 3 months ago.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying if we had,
That's what
a
I'm saying.
study,
We did a
then
comparison. I'm not for paying for a study when we're trying to save the taxpayers money, and we keep on spending money on studies. I think we need to just come up with something and give them what they need without raising taxes a lot.
I mean, I believe we can work together and do this.
okay. So what is it? What's the tax rate you're
Well, you said,
proposing?
I'm at 5, where I am.
I need a total
What was
of
the total tax rate
those
at 5?
two cuts.
14.
At
It
5?
was 14?
Yes, it'll take 14.
And then if we did 250 for capital, what was that? Was it
It's around,
around 10 cents, 10, 11?
yes. So,
It's 10, that's 40.
let's start with, I can back into these numbers if someone could give me an amount of
Well, if I look at 3 and 4, I'm coming up with around 38 cents for just the salaries. And that was what I was talking about, the 3 and 4.
I don't think it'd be that much.
Maybe a little less.
Yeah, quite a bit less.
So the 260,000 is around 12 cents. And then the 295 is right at 14.
And what are those numbers again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The 5 cents across the board is 295,328, which is right at 14 cents. And then 260,000 for capital would be right at 12 cents.
Anything in operation?
We have to cover the deficit, don't we, the 26, and
Yeah, it depends on what you want to, I mean, every penny's estimated at 21,490.
Kevin, is that enough to run the city? I know that you have scraped by, I mean, we would be crazy to think that things aren't going to break and we're not going to need, you have scraped and pulled
The
together.
26 is just going to get us where we just really need to operate. When Jamie did the basic budget, that just simple everything, we were still about 26 when we initially proposed. So that 26 would just get us where we just can basically operate.
26 what?
Thousand, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
26,000.
yeah.
So, we can't just skim by, and that's going to be just skimming us by. So we've got to do something in operating.
I looked at something else.
So on number 3, do y'all like those numbers for capital and for operating on number 3? The operating 132, the capital 260?
A total of 35 cents total?
Let's see, that'd be 40 cents total with salary would be 24, operating 5, and capital 11. Is the capital and operating numbers is that where y'all want them?
14 cents is where I want to be at the top.
But I mean, as far as capital and operating, neither one of those are
Capital
close?
250 is the minimum we got to do.
Okay.
That's, we've got to do that.
I agree.
Well,
What do y'all think on operations as far as where do you think you need to be?
When we look at it, last 2 weeks ago, we had put 3, and that was at least 6 cents.
So 3 cents.
Yes.
Okay.
Jamie, do you think 3 and 4 combined would put us at around 37 cents, could you say?
I'm sorry, can you ask me again?
I'm sorry. 3 and 4, do you think those two combined? Because 3 is 40 cents.
3 and 4.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
On the options?
On the
Lou?
email you took, yes, on
Yes,
the options.
okay.
So 3 is a total of 40 cents, correct?
3 is a total of, yes.
Okay, and then 4, I'm not sure what that total would be. Would that take 2 or 3 cents off?
Well, it depends if 3 and 4 could overlap. It could be taking
Okay.
some of the same dollars away.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
Because some of, when you're taking it down to 20%, you're reducing the same individuals that you're reducing in option 3.
Okay, well, I'm still interested in that one.
The 24 cents and 11 cents, or it's going to go down 11 cents?
I'm
right?
interested in the number 3 at 40 cents total.
But see, the 24 cents has got 570. I think Jeff had said he's good with 250. That brings it to about 10 cents, right, on the capital?
So what I've put on the screen is we had discussed at the past meeting 45 cents. At the 5 cents, which Mr. Alder mentioned and Ms. Dorothy mentioned, is the 295, so that puts 299, which is 31% or 14 cents in personnel. Puts 27% and 12 cents in capital, and then 406 or 19 cents or 42% in operating. So this kind of gives you an idea, so we can massage these numbers, but this gives you somewhere to start with, so we can look at this and move this however the board wants.
I like the personnel. I mean, I'm different than everybody else. Well, everybody that spoke up so far at 24.
24 cents?
Is everybody good with the 15 cents, the 3 cents for operations?
We gotta have it for that.
Got to, and then 250 to go to capital for the fire truck and the garbage truck we're looking at coming up. Is everybody good with that part? At least can we knock those two out?
And how many cents was that on capital?
12 cents and 3 cents, so
Okay.
15 cents with those two.
And then like I said, I'm interested in seeing the 24 cents.
Total.
Yeah, on salary.
I'm at 14 and 5% where what I like, which would be a total of 29 cents overall.
And mine would be a total of 39 cents. That's where I'd be. And if we combined 4, we might could take a cent or 2 off of that.
So we shaved you down 3 pennies from where we're at, 3
Yeah.
cents.
Well, actually, when we came in, we were
Right
at
at the
45,
last.
so this is
That's
at
right.
39.
So we're looking at 40 cents?
No, she was looking at, I think she mentioned 39.
Did
15
you
and 24.
try personnel? Did you plug in 24 cents?
It calculates by percentage, so.
Okay.
So you're looking at 40 though. So 40, and you're wanting 24?
24 is what I was looking at.
So there's 24, and then what for operating?
What did we, let's say,
15.
3 cents.
3 cents
Was
for
that
The
operating.
total was 15.
Yeah, and then 12 for capital.
So at 40 cents, we would have 24 cents at 515,759. 3 cents at 60,170, and then 13 cents at 283 in capital.
Now, this is personally where I like it. Mr. Bryant, you've been awfully quiet. Mr. Martinez?
I came here at Woody wanting at 32 cents, but that was from the beginning of last meeting when that was a break-even point. I thought 32 cents was to get by with a new sanitation truck and a new fire truck after 2 or 3 years. And I thought 32 cents was on the sheet, at one of our sheets that we had.
For what, capital or?
Total.
Oh, no, I don't remember 32 cents. I remember 45.
Well, it was just at the bottom, Rick, it was like a little bit above the break-even.
Okay. 45
That
is the last I
32
remember.
was for, at one time was for personnel.
Personnel only.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to stay between, I wouldn't want to go no more than 40 at all.
Well, 40 is better than 45?
Where you at, Jacob? What do you think?
I'm right there at 40. 40, anything, I don't want 45.
So if we do 40, the percentage breakout,
That was the 5%, right?
this is more than the 5%.
Okay.
5%, we need 295. This is putting 515, 759 towards personnel.
This is taking these sheets, making sure that nobody gets over 20%, plus the reduction of those 10 positions that they emailed to us.
70-something thousand. Okay. I'm good with that, because that would give them a fair raise. And I think they deserve
And
it.
it varies per position, so,
Agreed, but I would keep.
and everyone has the positions, the percentages that were based off of the survey, so.
I think this would help 100% keep their attention there. There's a lot, the firemen and police and sanitation deserve it.
So that would take care of the fire department situation.
And
That 8 cents will go away, because this right here will take care of it.
This will take care
Right.
of the fire department
Right.
unless they're over 20%, because
Okay.
the guidelines that I'm hearing is if anyone, no matter what position, is over 20%, I am to reduce that to no more than 20%.
But that 40 cents is actually without doing number 4.
Right.
Yes. But when we go to,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I mean, that would bring it down below 40, honestly. Does that make sense?
it could, but what would fall through, if I took option 3.
Yeah.
And reduced those 10 individuals, and
Yes.
then took a guideline of no one receives more than 20%, took those 2 guidelines and had it not to exceed this 24 cents.
Right.
And stayed within this 24 cents, then whatever else falls through would fall to operating.
Okay.
I can live with this as long as that 40 cents don't go no higher than that.
I think
That's a max for me right there. And that's coming down from where we was, but I mean, I'm not for going any higher than that 40 cents. If that takes care of the fire department situation, that 8 cents goes away. This right here takes care of it, most of it, up to that level. Now, I've not studied any of these numbers, but it sounds like it's been studied out pretty good.
Can we find a place in the middle with me and Dorothy liking 29 and y'all liking 40? Can we do somewhere in between?
I'm pretty stuck on the 24 personnel. I just
we can't go
think-
no lower than that 13% for capital though.
I mean, we can't touch those two. It's in the salary is where the difference is going to be.
Well, it looks like to me, and I have to apologize because I didn't read that email that came out, y'all, talking about.
You should have-
I've got it.
Okay.
I looked after you started talking about
You
it.
should have a printed copy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, I don't think it lists the individual salary reductions and the total.
So-
We don't have a copy of that.
But I mean, it looks like you've gone in and you cut a bunch off at top,
Yes.
way off, a lot. So, that's an improvement. I mean, that's going in the right direction. So right now, I mean, we could go on here to midnight or whatever. The numbers that I've heard, and trying to be fair and everything, and, bottom line is, there's not gonna be a tax increase next year. No matter what kind of study we do or whatever, it's not gonna happen. Everybody sitting up here right now knows why it's probably not gonna happen. It's not gonna be, we've gotta settle on something. We could be here all night long. That's good, if it takes it, fine. But, I see some numbers I can live
I got my
with.
blood pressure up, my nose is bleeding. Give me a minute, please.
A 20% would give it 36, is that what you're proposing?
What's that?
36 total?
I mean, I'm here to get something done tonight, so I'm good for compromising in the middle. So if it 35, 36,
That would go down, that would take
Mayor,
it to
could we
20.
take 5 minutes? Would that be okay? I'd like to step out too, and that way we make room for Jacob. Okay.
I'm
We're
moving
gonna
that
take a, okay, go
we
ahead.
need a motion.
Okay.
I move that we recess for 10 minutes. Okay?
We'll be at recess for 10 minutes.
We need.
And we will continue on the discussion of where we are on the tax increase and the percentages of how it will be distributed. And I open the floor to whoever wants to speak on it.
Can we meet in the middle on 40 and 29 and 35 or 36 cents? Can we get there?
Then can you drop that 24 down to 22?
How would we do it though?
Well, let's Go 22 and, well, no, 21, I guess.
Let me ask you this, Jamie. Are you pretty confident if we did 3 and 4, that that would get it down to 22? Or even close to confident? I know it's tough.
I'm not sure.
Those 2 pennies.
I mean, what I'd have to do is just whatever number we come out with tonight that's the number we will work with.
Okay.
We will make it work however we end up needing to. And I don't know exactly what that will look like, so.
Well, I'm still at 24, but that's however everybody else feels.
So,
I'm saying 34, 30, 35, 36 cents total is what I'm saying. Not percentages, I'm saying total tax rates. Meaning between 40 cents and 29 cents.
yeah. 32, 36, that
Still gets personnel 472.
Is that right, Jen? Well, no, she's on 40 cents still.
It's 36.
If you go down 1 to 35, that 413, 681 is going to be where you're at, Roger.
Oh, the 350.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bottom one.
So I was looking at the highlighted column time. So you're saying 35?
So that's 35
I mean, I
there.
wanted 29, but I'll compromise to get this done to 35.
The only reason I'm stuck on the 24 for personnel and the 40 total is because I feel like if we don't get it done now, we're not gonna get it done, and we've been putting it off for several years.
That's a nice raise itself right there at 35.
Because that's at 295 we were talking about, talking on the right-hand side.
At 5%, yeah.
Right.
5%. So that would be 185, right? The 35.
Yes.
So it's 413.
So how would you decide to make those cuts, though? Because right now, we're looking at, we know the cuts that came to us in email that are figured into number 3, and we know that number 4, what the cuts would be, anybody 20% or higher. But now if we go lower, where would those cuts come from?
I mean, we could,
Well, the salary study's out, though, is what we're saying. We're not.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going by this, which is not the numbers on the
Oh,
survey.
you're just saying with the.
Yeah, I'm going by this guideline, not the survey,
Okay.
because these numbers do not match the survey. If you go by the survey, they're outrageous.
and which sheet are you using?
The one that you,
The
Okay.
sheets that were in the back of the
Yes,
survey.
and those
information we got.
results are from the survey.
Yeah, but they're not exact from the survey. I mean, well, they're not the numbers that were put out with the
No, that's
76%
not.
raises and
That's
things.
correct, but they,
This is with everything considered as far as their certificates and
yes,
qualifications.
those are
and
actual
service.
based off of where they currently are, each individual.
Right. Yeah, the survey was just kind of a base, but you took and put in the years
That's
of service
correct.
and all credentials.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, that's the papers I'm going by.
yes.
Okay.
But some of these figures are from the survey. They've just been, some have been adjusted, some are surveyed.
The median on the scales to provide those numbers came from the survey, with a few exceptions because there was not a certain position for those individuals. So we had to combine based off their job descriptions to come up with what their median should be. So the basis of that in their scales did come from the survey.
I'm still in the same place, but I mean,
we'll just go down the road, I guess, and let's just be done.
I'm compromise at 35 is what I'll do.
Okay, so for the 35, are the percentages that are on the screen where you would like them to be, or do I need to adjust these?
Operations should be 3 cents, so that would be another, you could move over to personnel, which would help. It was.
Okay, so is that where you want it?
That's what I like, that's what I'm asking. I don't know if Dorothy, I know you were 29 cents through, I don't know if you, would you be all right with compromising with that? Okay. I won't get something done though tonight, we gotta vote this, so I will vote yes on that.
Well, we haven't seen Ms. Dorothy's numbers either, though. You don't want the 29?
I'm not.
Well, I'm still, I consider myself compromising when I came in at 45 and I got down to 40. And so I'm gonna stick with my 40 and the 24 personnel. That's just where I'd like to be. Don't mean where we're going to end up.
I would like to see the 40 as well, but I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to compromise with Jeff. The 35, I think, where it's at, and hopefully this could be okay with the firemen and the police that are out there right now. If this is something that looks good, and y'all agree to this, then I think this is where we can go with it. But y'all are the ones that are working. We're not. So.
But we are the people that have to make these hard decisions, and we are the people that have to answer to these taxpayers. And that's what we're elected to do, is to spend the money wisely.
Yeah, and I believe most of us have already spoke with police and fire and the other ones. I've already spoke with them. So, I mean, I ain't run numbers by them, but.
Let's do the 35.
Where are we gonna?
Let's just do the 35 because we can stay as long as we want to, but we started at 70, we went to 45, we went to 40, the 35 is kind of a compromise and I'll go with 35.
Can we make the
Just move
cuts
on.
from the higher paid salaries though? That's what I want to know. Because if we go 21 instead of going the 24, now some of it may be shaved off from doing the number 4 that you have on here, from nobody being over 20%. But there may be some other, where will we take that from? And that's something we may have to decide. Where do we take that from?
Take it from the higher salaries.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Owens, you cut almost 80,000.
Well, it'd be there's other high salaries besides these.
I mean, all of those were in the factors. I mean, the chief and I were not in that factor, but the others had a percentage based on it. And of course, those were per the numbers that were in the salary survey. So that's where the salary survey projected.
Well, the emphasis should be on the lower paid employees that's out there doing what they're doing and fighting fires and doing these things with
5%, it's gonna end up being,
domestic calls that they have, and we got the street department sanitation out there at 3 o'clock in the morning picking garbage up. So we should kind of lean pretty heavy towards.
We're short-handed there right now as we speak on with sanitation.
anything over 5%, break it down to the lower paid salary.
I think the only way to make this work with 35, I think that the finance department's going to have to sit down and they're going to have to look at all these numbers, and they're going to have us the answers at the work session Thursday morning, and we can decide and move on. That's what I believe. I mean, if we decide, okay, we can live with 35, and I can live with 35. Because there's not going to be a tax increase next year, and everybody up here knows why there won't be, but I don't think there would be. But, as far as where does it all land at, we need to know that Thursday morning. We don't need to be calling another meeting, we need to know it Thursday morning, and if she can give us, that's an open meeting, open to the public, she can give us all the breakdowns and everything, and we say we can live with it. That's where I'm at right there.
Something that will be done tonight until Thursday morning.
I can run the numbers and have them by Thursday.
I'm for leaning pretty heavy toward the lower paid employees. If we can make that happen.
So the first pass, what I should do is, what I'm hearing is do a combination of number 3 and number 4. Is that the direction I'm to take between now
I
and
think that's what
Thursday?
we're looking at, and see how close that gets it. I was thinking it was close to 20, it might get us down to 23 cents on that, maybe even 22, so we're close.
Okay.
And so there may be another cent more we have to shave somewhere, and that's what I was saying. I'd like to see us shave it off the higher end and not the lower end.
Okay.
That's where I'm at too. And so, if we're looking at 35 cents, what we're not looking at is, we're not looking at $1.10. We're looking at 35 cents, what we're looking at. If that's how it works out.
So what this will take us, we're currently at $1.50. This will take us to $1.85.
It would take us $1.85 till next year. And after the reappraisal next year, it's going to drop from $1.85 probably down to about $1.60 or 65. Because after reappraisal next year, is when we have our reappraisal next year. Then we had it in 2019. When we had it, and ours is due next year. Now Tullahoma and all them others had theirs last year. So that messes everything up in comparison. You can't compare like that because you're being deceptive, the ones that's trying to do that. But that more than likely what would happen is next year when we have reappraisal, because the property value has gone up so much, it's probably going to pull that back down quite a bit. Last time it pulled it down 15 cents, I believe, 2019. But that don't mean you're going to pay no less taxes. That just means the rates is going to look different.
That's
all
the
that
problem.
means. Yeah, that's all it means, you know.
You're still gonna pay the same taxes.
Yeah, you're still going to pay the same taxes. They just won't look the same.
Anything else?
Anyone else have any other direction, or everyone's good with this option for Thursday?
I like it, so.
Roger, you wanted to address the outside agencies?
I was going, if we're going to go down below this 35, correct? Then we can address,
Do you want to look at the outside agencies?
I do.
Okay.
I don't think I have that with me.
It's,
I will pull it up on the screen.
Is it in our blue book?
yes.
It is.
I couldn't find it. No,
I think it was clipped like this. It's not in,
I think I took it out because it's weighted down with stuff.
you may have
I won't
taken
find a
just.
copy.
Oh, here it is.
You got it.
I think I got it.
It's on the screen too.
Oh, okay. Just need to make sure this one matches.
So I thought we cut them down, number 18 Main Street to 10,000. Do we agree on 15?
We agreed on level funding.
Yeah, same thing.
No, my problem was with
Oh, okay, it was
Right.
level. We kept it level.
everything is focused to Main Street. All the taxpayers' money's going out to Main Street where they have their wine and dine dinners all the time and then post embarrassing posts they put on social media all the time. I don't think we need it. I'm not for funding it. That's just me. I'm not for
Wine
funding
and
it.
dine dinners.
It is very true. We're wasting taxpayers' money on a
You're saying you're not for the,
I'm not for giving them $15,000. If they can fund them by making somebody full-time and giving them benefits, they can fund themselves. Because we got a lot of
You are aware
Mary,
that,
hold on a second. We have a lot of other nonprofits that really need the money too. The animal shelter is starving to stay open, and the art center is starving to stay open. So I'm not for Main Street. I'm not for giving them a penny.
you know that this is a program that's awarded statewide to the downtown areas
aware
of
what
the
the program it
cities.
is. It's a party
And once you
program.
lose it and you don't fund it, you do not get this back. And this is an award to this
I think
city.
the chamber does a lot for federal, and they've done a lot for many years.
They're two totally different
Entities,
things.
they are.
Two totally different things. If you do not fund this, you do not get Main Street back.
And it did say, it looks on here like we approved to stay the same. We didn't go up
We
this
did
year.
not go
I thought
up.
it was a 10, but it shows a 15 because they asked for 15.
No, we
I thought it was
gave,
10.
chamber for additional $1,000.
And library, I think.
But didn't we decide that we wasn't taking away or giving to anybody new, anything new, not taking away from anybody else?
We tried to get something new, they said
Yeah.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so, but it's already done been decided?
Well, no, we're deciding now.
Good where we are.
Okay. I thought it was decided in the last meeting that we had.
I'm good with it. I mean, it stayed the same. I was thinking there was an increase, but it stayed the same.
Ron, I'm just speculating what I want to do, but I mean, young, we can all vote. It's,
How much of that's tourism?
Tourism, oh, let's see, Main Street here. Main Street, tourism is 10,000 tourism and 15,000 general operations. So we give them 25,000 a year. And on the chamber, that's 25, 631, $41,000, and then we gave them an additional 4. So we give chamber quite a bit more than we give Main Street. Anybody else want to change anything, or?
Are we just doing a
Good with the
strong
way they
poll
are.
on what we believe needs to be done tonight, or are we voting on this Thursday? Is that what we need to do?
Well, nothing will be voted on tonight. Y'all just decide on,
Yeah, she's gonna bring the numbers to us for work session, and then we'll have all the rest, I mean, we'll have that for work session, and then I guess we'll be ready to vote Tuesday night after the public meeting.
So what direction and what changes for tonight? I mean, what changes do I need to have for?
try to get it below 35%, and I said no money to Main Street, but there's other board members.
is anybody else for cutting Main Street? Are you saying none?
I don't want to get to Main Street.
Okay. Does anybody else want?
I'm okay with it staying the same.
I'm okay with it staying the same.
I'm good with everything being like it is up there.
Okay, so majority rules on that. So no changes on outside agencies. So the way it stands now, Jamie, make sure you have your clarifications. 35 cents in the distribution, y'all agreed on that. And Jamie will present that at the work session. No changes on the outside agencies. We'll look at that, discuss that at the work session on Thursday morning. Then we'll come back for the board meeting. There will be a public hearing on January the 13th. That's where the public can speak. And June, I keep saying July. June 13th, thank you for that. And then the board meeting will be at 5 o'clock. Anything else?
Ladies and gentlemen, this job up here is extremely hard, and we want to thank everyone for showing up. This isn't easy for us, and we know it's not easy for y'all.
They're
So,
saying 5.
thank y'all.
We do have one clarification here.
It's 5, public hearing is
The
5.
public is at 5?
Board meeting will start as a public hearing.
Okay. Let me clarify that. The public hearing will be at 5 o'clock on June the 13th, and then the board meeting will start immediately after.
And the work session's 8 a.m. Thursday.
The work session is 8 a.m. Thursday before the for the board meeting. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.